What's up, guys? Welcome to the line change. And in this video, we are going to continue the goals and expectations series. This time, we're going to be talking about Teddy Blueger. And we're going to ask, how will Teddy Blueger perform this upcoming season? Obviously, he's going to be, at least in my opinion, probably relied upon very heavily when it comes to the penalty kill, with the Canucks having lost both Pius Suter and Dakota Joshua. So I feel as though that is where a lot of the focus for Teddy Blueger will be. He's not really known to be that much of an offensive producer. He's more so a defensive guy. And so we're going to dive into that and talk about goals and expectations. And then I'm going to give you guys a little bold prediction for Teddy Blueger and how he's going to perform this upcoming season. But before I do that, as I always do, I'm going to give a quick shout out and thank you to my sponsor, Gassy Jack Art, maker of this amazing artwork you see right here, and then the two behind. Got my Kuzmenko one up now. You guys can check them out yourselves at gassjackart.com or www.gassjack. Yeah, gassjackart.com. And you guys can also find them on Instagram at gassjackart. There's a link to his website in the description down below. So let's go ahead and go over this article that gives us Canucks Army's goals and expectations for Teddy Blueger in 25-26. This article is written by Michael Liu, and it goes on to say, like many Vancouver Canucks in 2024-25, Teddy Blueger was not immune to a regression of sorts. The Latvian forward was a key piece in Vancouver's bottom six. In 23-24, Blueger centered one of the most potent third lines in the entire league and was a big reason why the Canucks were able to roll a great forward group throughout the season and into the playoffs. Speaking of that line, there's only now 2/3 of that line left on the Vancouver Canucks with the trade of Dakota Joshua to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Obviously, that line was broken up due to that trade. But we still have 2/3 of that, with Connor Garland and Teddy Blueger still being on the roster. This past season saw him take a step back, while Blueger remained one of the better penalty-killing options across the league, allowing just 10 goals in 172 minutes and 50 seconds. Shorthanded minutes, his offensive contributions shrank by a decent margin, including a massive 26-game goalless drought. Still, it's not like the Latvian is relied upon to be an offensive contributor, as I mentioned at the start of this video. He more than held up his end of the bargain as a matchup duty forward, and at the age of 31, still provides a decent punch to this team's bottom six. So what should the goals and expectations be for Teddy Blueger in 2025-26? Let's take a look at what meeting expectations would look like for Teddy Blueger, which would be 20 to 25 points and a continued defensive prowess. At this point in his career, Blueger is who he is, and that's not a bad thing. Most teams would love to have someone like him in their bottom six as someone who can just eat away at minutes without being a liability and instead contribute to the team's defensive efforts. Blueger has been used as a utility man throughout his tenure as a Canuck, and the hope is that he'll continue to be that reliable depth presence in the bottom six. As well, Blueger has shown the ability to contribute offensively. Hitting the 20-point mark is pretty reasonable for him, especially considering that he's done so in 5 of the last 6 seasons. Even in that one season where Blueger didn't, he put up 16 points in 68 games. It seems reasonable to expect Blueger to continue that trend, with his deployment likely remaining the same going into 2025-26. The hope is that he can produce more consistently instead of the hot and cold streaks he went on in 24-25. Blueger will also be playing for Latvia at the 2026 Winter Olympics, and the impacts of that remain to be seen on his game as well. Will the motivation of playing for his country buoy his performances, or will the fatigue of the tournament wear down his play? Only time will tell. Let's take a look at what exceeding expectations would look like for Teddy Blueger, which would be 30-plus points and him pushing into the second line. We've seen these flashes and streaks where with the right line mates, Blueger looks like a possible second liner on a contending team. Now, ideally, he's never put into that position, and the chances are low that he breaks out to become that caliber of player. but Blueger putting up 30-plus points and giving the Canucks middle six a big offensive punch coupled with his great defensive work would be essentially exceeding expectations for him. It's not overly far-fetched. That third line of Connor Garland, Blueger, and Dakota Joshua that we mentioned earlier was clicking on all cylinders in 23-24. The trio put together a great run of games where their production outpaced Vancouver's own first line, all the while remaining defensively responsible. That probably won't be happening again. However, if Blueger could come close to that standard of play consistently, the Canucks would have found money on their hands, where the Latvian isn't being forced higher up in the lineup, but forcing himself into conversations for more deployment. Now, let's take a look at the other side. We just went over what exceeding expectations would look like and what meeting expectations would look like. Now let's take a look at what below expectations are for Teddy Blueger, which would be 15 points, him being relegated to the fourth line, and him being a PK liability. One player does not define a penalty kill, but Blueger taking a step back in that department would really hurt the team, especially considering, as I mentioned earlier, they've lost both Pius Suter and Dakota Joshua. The biggest strength he brings to the forward group is his ability on special teams, and if he were to lose that versatility, it would severely hamper his value to the Canucks. Not only that, but Blueger dropping in production further would only increase the alarm bells surrounding him. There haven't been signs of age-based regression yet, but given the streaks that he was on last year, there is concern that the standard could be lowered going into 25-26, and if that happens, Blueger would firmly be a fourth liner that the Canucks might view as replacement level. And keep in mind, the Vancouver Canucks management group is not afraid to get rid of their mistakes. We saw that with Danton Heinen. We saw that with Vinny Desharnais. Making $1.8 million annually, Blueger's cap hit wouldn't be the worst thing in the whole world if he's unable to reach these expectations, but ideally, one isn't paying close to $2 million of the cap to a fourth-line center. We've seen that experiment happen with the likes of Jay Beagle, and that didn't end well for the franchise. For Blueger to drop to that level would definitely be a disappointment, and the only bright spot from that point would be the fact that he's a free agent after this season. Let's take a look at some goals for Teddy Blueger. One would be continue to be one of the Canucks' best penalty killing options, be more consistent in scoring points, be a viable option within the Canucks' middle six, for example, able to fill in the top six in case of injuries, develop chemistry with younger Canucks in the bottom six, i.e. guys like not Ratu, guys like Carlson, Sasson, Baines, continue to bring energy and punch playing depth minutes. Blueger did a lot of good things last year. At this point in his career, the former Minnesota State Maverick provides a lot of veteran leadership to any group of forwards, and the Canucks are fortunate to have someone with his experience and tool set within their bottom six. Let's not forget, Teddy Blueger has won a Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights. The main thing for him this season is to continue being the high-energy, defensively responsible player that he is, providing Vancouver with good penalty-killing abilities to boot. The hope is that Blueger won't go as long without scoring as he did last year. Suppose his production is more consistent, even if the overall production doesn't take up too much. In that case, it gives the Canucks a much more reliable baseline to be playing off of instead of swinging so far in one direction or the other. Most of all, however, Blueger can provide a lot of mentorship to the young Canuck players looking to push themselves into being full-time NHLers. The Latvian is a fantastic role player on any contending team, and many prospects could benefit from learning how to carve out a place for themselves in the big leagues. Not only would establishing chemistry help this season, but Blueger could help set the foundation for young, cheaper players on ELCs becoming contributors to help Vancouver maximize their cap space. So that is the article from Michael Liu talking about the goals and expectations for Teddy Blueger. I almost said Connor Garland in 25-26. Now, for my predictions and having now read this, I'm going to go with the meeting expectations category. I'm thinking he will hover around the 20 to 25 point mark, and he'll continue his defensive prowess. He'll also help out on the penalty kill. I actually think, and this is, I guess you can consider a bold prediction, will have a big role on the penalty kill. I think he'll, do something similar to what he did last season, allowing not necessarily just 10 goals, but I think he'll do better than that. And yeah, that is my bold prediction for Teddy Blueger. I think he's going to be around the 20 to 25 point mark. As far as goals, I don't think he's going to put up a whole lot of goals. Let's say 10 goals and 15 assists. I'm going to go with that, at least for now. That could change, 2 months into the season if he's, miraculously starts lighting it up. I'm going to go with that. 10 goals, 15 assists for Teddy Blueger. Those are my goals and expectations for, as well as predictions for I almost did it again, for Teddy Blueger going into this upcoming season. But I'm going to know what you guys think. What are your goals and expectations for Teddy Blueger? Do you think, just like me, that he won't contribute too much offensively? He'll be more so relied upon in the bottom six and as a contributor to the penalty kill. Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think. And as always, if you guys like this video, be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to stay up to date on all your Vancouver Canucks content, I know there hasn't been a whole lot as of late. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss a single video. You can find and interact with us on social media. You can find us on Facebook. Just search The Line Change to find our Facebook page and give that a follow. You can find us on Instagram at The Line Change. You can find us on X at Line Change Van. You can find us on TikTok at the TLC Podcast. You can also find us on Blue Sky now. Yep, we're on Blue Sky at The Line Change, and feel free to give us a follow on all of our social media platforms. If you prefer an audio version of this podcast, you can find us on both Spotify and Apple Podcast. On Spotify, feel free to give us a follow as well as rate and review us. It is, of course, greatly appreciated and really helps out the podcast, in particular on Spotify. And that's going to do it for this video. As always, let's go Canucks, and I'll see you guys in the next video.